Hi, folks. My name's Jesse Vidala. Thank you for joining us here tonight, talking about TU tools for wild trout conservation. I'm joined with my good friend John Vanderwerf. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey Jesse, doing really well. Excited to be here and chat about spawning trout this afternoon and can't wait to dive on into it.
Same here, man. Thank you very much. So we've got this pretty cool conversation teed up. Figured it'd be a good time for some folks from our team here in New York and Connecticut to talk now while we're entering the fall spawning season about ways you can help be a part of some really great positive conservation work. So John and myself work as a part of a team on staff at Trout Unlimited. And in addition to all the wonderful volunteer chapter-led efforts, our team here is working on streams and rivers of all sizes with habitat improvement projects, reconnection projects, and a whole suite of opportunities for folks like you who are passionate about trout to help play a part of support for the future of wild trout. So that's what we're talking about tonight, is how people get involved in this thing. So very, very cool. Very excited to be doing this. And again, thank you to my friend John for being willing to do this format of chatting here together, sharing our ideas for what's coming up. And yeah, pretty excited. Thank you again, John, for doing it.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well. Spread the message, get people involved, and hopefully find a bunch of trout spawning and also try to protect trout moving into the future. So it's going to be an awesome conversation.
Very cool. Well, so in the spirit of the fall and this idea of getting out there and collecting data, we thought what would be better than a fun volunteer competition. So, how does this all sling back to what you see on screen? The merch store, Trout Unlimited's team, very specifically our good friend Maggie Human and Nick Holly out in Montana, the crew at TU that helped design an updated new merch store. There are so much to see there. So shop.tu.org is the website they've updated to be able to get a lot of gear that folks have been asking for. So, without too much prompting, we came up with the idea, and I got to give Tracy the credit because she said we should get the college kids to compete for who collects the most data. So that's what we're doing.
Definitely.
I think it's a good idea, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
the whole goal was to put two schools together in a fun competition to get out and collect data, specifically spawning data this fall. So, we've got SUNY Plattsburgh, a really incredible upstart crew of folks who are excited about the Saranac River. They're going to be out doing tributary surveys. But SUNY Coalskill, John, tell me a little bit about your connection and why you think maybe the Coalskill crew might have it in this competition.
Oh yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm completely biased to the Cobleskill crew because I am myself a Cobleskill alumni. I'm in the class of 2015, so I think the fisheries program at NTU Five Rivers Costa program will definitely take this away from Cobleskill spawning surveys.
Oh man. Okay, so we've got a competition afoot. It's happening right now, actually. Both of the clubs are going to have folks out doing some spawning surveys. We're very fortunate to have a TU seasonal staff crew that's been out actively in the Saranac, and so they'll be supporting the Plattsburgh crew. I know John will be helping support along with myself with Cobleskill, and we're excited to have a big crew out there looking for fish and helping us collect some important data. So what we decided to do is to put together a little competition. In addition to a $75 store credit to buying anything the chapter wants from the website, I've got a really cool limited edition. This is a really special box to me as a fan of the art and writers and creators in the world of trout and conservation. Dave Whitlock illustrated this beautiful trout trio, which you can see on an awesome
Stunning.
MFC clicker box. So beautiful for a small streamer box. I'm going to go ahead and fill this one up. I'm going to put six mother minnows and six zoo cougars in here. Beautiful streamers, Kelly Gallup
Ooh.
style. Put a couple great, trout streamers in this box for you. I'll get those tied up. We got some cool stickers as well, some TU stickers. I've even got a license plate from the last one, the little Blue Lines campaign. So yeah, anyway, we
Cool.
put together a great, great prize pack for the winner of this one. Anyway, so that's enough about the comp, but this is gonna be really fun. Thank you. Good stuff. We are again chatting about the opportunities for documenting spawning trout. The seasons obviously are important for knowing when to be out there to study these trout. So if you're new to the world of wild trout, where to find them, it's good to know that this fall season and spawning specifically pertains to the brook trout and the brown trout. The art, beautiful trout you see on screen were created by a friend of the TU crew. Stephen Weinberg lives in the Catskills. And as he's illustrated this beautiful brook trout you see on the top as an iconic mark of the Catskills, truly so beautifully illustrated. And Stephen has such a wonderful style and appreciation for what we do at TU. Actually, this Friday, I'll be out on the Westkill Creek helping plant some trees right along his property line there at the Spruceton Inn. So really, truly
Beautiful.
connected to our work in the conservation, and as an artist, his illustrations really speak to what I think is wonderful about our community. So these trout and a lot more are in Steven's new book. He has an incredible new illustrated guide to fly fishing coming soon. It's got a lot of really fun character features, friends within the TU and conservation and fishing world at large who are there. And so you're gonna love the book. But Jon, you've got to see some of his art a little bit up close this season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Jesse was kind enough to send me a bunch of Steven's art. Got a nice little postcard here, and fortunate as a new dad to get a little brook trout onesie here. So definitely check out Steven's studio, and he's got a bunch of beautiful art and a beautiful, really cool selection of things that the art is on as well. So definitely suggest it. It's
I love it.
beautiful.
I'm glad it was a good fit. We were very fortunate to have two brand new babies on our staff team this year. So we sent out a couple of beautiful one of one painted brookies for our little ones. So good stuff. Thank you, Jon. And thank you, Stephen. One more on that same tip. Our buddies at Westkill Brewing have been helping support our efforts specifically for brook trout. We are looking at opportunities for reconnection and habitat improvement. And the Westkill team has agreed to donate 2% of their iconic Brookie Corn Lager. Every six pack you buy of this beer kicks 2% back to those projects, which is a really cool campaign and a program we have called Brookies for Brookies. There's a fun commercial you can see on Instagram that we recorded for this program over the fall with some good friends of ours, Lean To Productions. Gorgeous little video we shot, super fun. And it's a cool thing. So we love to see creative ways of supporting conservation. If this is something you're doing in your area, please drop the comments below here on YouTube. Let us know what's happening that's fun and creative to help support trout. And this is just stuff that we're thinking of and we're getting into. So it's fun. And again, these are beautifully illustrated by Steven. And big thank you to Mike and the crew at Westkill for all they do for TU here in New York. So
Yeah, great beer, beautiful artwork, awesome for a can for an adventure. Definitely recommend picking up a six pack.
agreed, agreed. We've been working on some really great programs, and Jon specifically has helped spearhead TU's support of research for sea run brook trout specifically, so salter brookies. A really fun topic. And Jon, maybe a little bit on the Nissequogue you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Nissequogue River is situated on Long Island, on the Long Island Sound side of it, or the North Shore of Long Island. It is a beautiful brook trout stream, and in August of 2024, there was a dam breach in Blydenburg Park. Now that dam is Now the dam's no longer there. The impoundment has started growing back, and like you can see in this photo here, but there is about over $6 million now slated to rebuild the dam. So Trout Unlimited, SeaTuck, Save the Sound, Audubon, a whole host of partners have banded together to create the Free Flowing Nissequogue River campaign to bring the message out there and to say, hey, that this is a special habitat for not only brook trout, but for migratory fish as well. So let's think about rebuilding this dam and maybe put that money into other projects that could be better set out and fit into the watershed better. So we have a couple of film screening events, and our colleague Enrico is going to be speaking at them. So we highly recommend checking it out. Get involved with the Nissequogue River and trying to protect some brook trout.
Love that. Thank you, Jon. A great rundown, too, for sure. And we are really appreciative of the two TU chapters you see mentioned here hosting those screenings, the Art Flick TU chapter as well as Long Island Trout Unlimited. These are folks that are passionate about the same things we are, and we're so grateful to have the grassroots chapters where we do. You'll hear us make mention of some of, but not anywhere near all of the great TU chapters across New York and Connecticut where Jon and I work. But we've been fortunate enough to work with the Long Island crew here talking about the Nissequogue and a really, really special opportunity. So thanks, John, for helping lead our team in that way. More exciting times happening for brook trout, wild trout, and enthusiasts of them overall in the Northeast. Next year, we get together for our Northeast Regional Rendezvous for all TU members, anywhere you are. Specifically, excited to welcome folks to Roscoe, New York, in the heart of the Catskills, where I love to be, spend a bunch of time. The last few months, I've been helping the development, I should say redevelopment of a really incredible Trout Unlimited story, which is the BMOC TU chapter. Historically, hosted and run by some incredible conservationists of the Catskills, including Harry Darby and Ed Van Putt, the members of which and some of the continual residing voices, including Manny Zanger and Judy Van Putt, are now the advisors and leaders of the BMOC TU chapter. So I'm really excited that the chapter is coming back, and as a part of it, we'll be enjoying a really fun weekend in April to celebrate the chapter's official launch for new membership at that time. So very, very exciting time again. You should mark your calendar for April 10th through 12th if you haven't already. It's going to be a great time. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, John. It's going to be a good time there in Roscoe at the Mountain Club. Have you ever been up to Roscoe Mountain Club?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely cannot miss this event. It's going to be a really cool one, beautiful location. So definitely make the trip for it, near or far. Definitely will not regret.
Agreed. Agreed. It's gonna be a fun time next year. Stuff happening right now, though, is what we're on tonight, right? So we're getting into the topic of citizen science, data collection. We're going to talk about some of the tools that are on our phones. But before we get into the details of how, I think maybe the why is the bigger discussion, right? So what's the point of all
Yeah.
this? And where is this information going? Are both of those questions, I think, are relevant to front of mind for folks who want to know why TU does this type of work, spawning surveys. Well, specifically in the state of Connecticut and in New York, we work directly with the conservation and fisheries teams across both states to help improve opportunities for wild trout. That definition is something that we uphold by the efforts we take on, grant-funded conservation work, a lot of reconnection projects, specifically removing barriers and dams to wild trout so that they can spawn in the fall. So we do this work, and in order to get approval to do so and permitting to do so, we have to validate a lot of what we're finding on the streams. And the more constant validation of data about wild trout that we have in our favor, the better we can help and petition and be a part of improvements for wild trout. And I know that at least a good number of folks who clicked on this video today are wild trout enthusiasts who want to see things happen positively for wild trout. So John, myself, our whole team, Tracy Brown, the folks that lead what we do here on the conservation team in New York and Connecticut, we believe that citizen science is the gateway. We get folks involved to help us collect the data, close the gaps, we find wild trout, and we do the right things to protect them. So that's why you're here. That's why John and I are doing this thing, talking today. So pretty cool. Excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, we can't do this without you. The more people who get involved, the more data collected. As a biologist, the more data, the better. The more people can get out there, document trout spawning, the more we can do to protect the population and the habitat that supports them.
Agreed. And you bring up a great point, which is what I hope to also close the loop on, which is where does this information go? Am I sure that it's a good idea to be out here documenting wild fish and then posting it through my phone? What's happening with this information? So, truly, that's something that John and I mentioned earlier to this discussion, wanted to bring home is that we're collecting this information on an app that we will show you that goes to not a public map shared out to anglers or enthusiasts. This is data collected for statewide conservation efforts. We share it directly with the fisheries departments here in New York and Connecticut. And that data does help inform good wild trout management and opportunities for more advancements of wild trout. Specifically in Connecticut, and John can attest to this as well, as we're working with fisheries with a very specific prioritized list of wild trout streams that more data is needed to help collect. And this is a part of that collection process. So pretty groundbreaking time. We can get into the tools. As you see here on screen, we're talking about one platform or one main app, which is the Survey 123 app. And by way of that, we have two sub-programs, both the Red Survey app and the Rivers app. Again, these both available housed within the same tool. What we fortunately have available is a few years back, our colleague Jacob Fetterman, Jon and I appreciate very much not having to dive too far into the tech because there exists a full YouTube step-by-step walkthrough of each screen on how to install these apps and then also to, again, how to make your way through each entry point. I think that most folks who are watching this training will be able to follow these links very quickly, grab these apps, and then begin doing the work on stream. If you have questions, we are here to answer them, and we will do a little bit more in depth towards the end of the presentation. But I just wanted to, again, move through the idea that these are available to you on your smartphone at this time. So ready to download. When you are working with the app, one big stumbling block we did identify, wanted to call out right away, is that the way that this platform is set up is you will use the continue without signing in feature and have access to uploading your data to that map rather than doing a sign in. Again, this information is going to a back end stored GIS map here on the TU side. So we're just asking that you use the continue without signing in function in order to get there. In addition to the spawning survey app, which we're going to spend more time talking about, specifically wild trout spawning, the Rivers app is that companion, the other component within Survey 123. It becomes a really important tool to know during the fall spawning season because often what we're documenting are conditions on streams that do directly affect the spawning season. What you see on the top left there are severe culvert barrier trout, adult trout, which are unable to pass through larger obstructions with high barriers of this size, obviously are deemed as severe culverts. And when you're out with the Rivers app, you are able to take photos and document these and flag those as opportunities for our staff to get into to look at for aquatic improvement, aquatic passage improvement, I should say. On the far right there, you see some stream bank erosion. Maybe a recent storm has continued to cut through the bank side of a once healthy stream that used to have lots of large trees. We see opportunities to improve upstream of instances like this and hope to use this documented data point as a good entry point for us to get it to work as a team. So thank you for using the app. If you have questions again about the Rivers app and what to do, please feel free to let us know.
Yeah, this is a great slide to mention that it's really important to document any features you see, but to try to do your best to document it in the Rivers app and not the spawning app. Because if features are documented in the spawning app, it makes the backside of the data management a little bit clunky when there's dams and spawning and culverts and all everything lumped into one, instead of having one for spawning and one for the features of the river. Helps keep everything nice and smooth and streamlined and gets a better data quality product at the end.
Thank you so much, John. That's exactly the info we needed. Perfect. So we'll keep the info separate. That's the Rivers app. We're talking about trout spawning. So we figured what is a red, how to start identifying them. We have some photos up on screen continually. In the next few slides, we'll put a few more up. The idea is to identify what you're seeing when you're looking on screen. You'll see we've called out the clean, polished gravel bars or segments of the stream that are visibly quite a bit brighter than the rest of the stream, not just in contrast. They were formed that way. The position where they are on the stream is really what's being called out in the right photo, a really good thing to help you calibrate where to start looking. If this is your first time in the fall spawning season, specifically looking for reds, not only are they these raised and highlighted or polished gravel bars, but also you will notice that where they're located in relation to a fast riffle or stream flow is also going to determine whether or not you will see a red. So
Yeah, so a little bit on reds. It's when the female fish starts digging a pit in there, finding a select size cobble sand of proper sediment size that is proper, and then the male comes in. They do their spawning business and kind of push all of that pit gravel out into a tailspill of gravel that is actually the incubator for, I say incubator for the eggs that are released and start to fertilize.
Perfect. I greatly appreciated that, John. And that's exactly, I think, what's called out here. And for folks who are just learning, if any of this information is new to you, we will continue to dig a little bit deeper into the process and what you might see on screen. But indeed, just that. This is the starting point to our discussion. So, um, where you'll find them, digging in a little bit further, John, maybe you can talk to us about these specific opportunities or stream conditions. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So spawning is going to happen in really specific habitat conditions. They need cold, clean, highly oxygenated water. The water temperature for the sweet spot maximum recruitment is low 40-degree Fahrenheit. And the spawning areas are going to be typically shallow, but ranging in some depth from anywhere from a few inches to a couple of feet. It shouldn't be really, really in the deep, slow pools. It shouldn't be in the really, really shallow, fast riffles. Kind of sweet spot in the middle. They're commonly found in a glide or a run, that kind of sweet spot, perfect amount of water, often upstream from a larger pool, or specifically brook trout will target in groundwater upwelling where the springs are seeping into the river. They'll spawn and target that area for their spawning reds and maximum recruitment as well.
Excellent. Very cool. So now we know a little bit more about where you might find them and what those conditions are. I think a key one right out of the gate is talking about the quality or the cleanliness, clean, cold water being a big indicator. So when we are able to find reds on streams that may or may not have active wild trout management plans, we really are helping to inform the next wave. So really, really great critical data. Got a few photos on screen showing some fish moving in and out of spawning habitat, pairing up here you see in photo. Continually, you'll move on through here and see more images that will help you identify reds. Here we have
Awesome photo.
great one, right? Yeah, beautiful contrast here to see of two obviously brown trout on screen, really kind of showing this is the prime time here. Really, just an incredible spectacle to witness when you're walking up and down a stream. You learn a lot more about the places that trout are at different times of the year and how they might move from larger watersheds to smaller. A really, really great example of it, what you're seeing.
Mhm. Awesome action shot.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Cool. So on screen, John, we figured it'd be helpful too to talk a little bit about what happens. Now we've shown a few photos of the building of reds and what those look like. We've now seen a few pairs of trout into the activity of creating the reds, even moving rocks around to begin the process. Can you walk us through a little bit about what happens then? Again, this is great information for anglers who are learning about the fall and winter seasons. So,
Yeah, so once the trout build their red, they dig that hole, they get everything ready. The female will get ready to release the eggs. The male will come up behind them, release the milk, and fertilize the eggs, then cover them with a little bit more sediment to kind of tuck them in, keep them protected, but not overly protected where they smother because they don't get enough oxygen. So the eggs stay fertilized. All of this is water temperature dependent. I can't stress that enough. But anywhere from 40 to 150 days, the egg will stay as an egg itself, fertilized as an egg. It'll then hatch and become an alvin, where it's a little small fish, a larval fish, we call it, that still has its yolk sac attached to it. It's going to feed off of that yolk sac for anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on water temperature, and then be a free floating small fingerling and then grow and reach sexual maturity at around 3 to 4 years, depending on water temperature and stream conditions. But the average span for maturation of a trout is about 3 months from egg to free floating young of the year fish.
awesome. Ooh, I'm going to pause this for 1 second and say we are pulling up a video. Really great opportunity to kind of see the full walkthrough. This was found on Reddit through a subreddit called The Depths Below. Really beautiful, quick action video, maybe not longer than a minute, but worth showing before we move into a little bit more of our state-specific lists and the efforts we're doing here in New York, Connecticut. So grab
Yeah,
some
this
popcorn
video,
for a moment.
yeah, this video is perfect for showing the trout doing their thing.
Totally. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that video. I think it's a great video to show you a good idea of what sediment size you're looking for while you're doing the spotting surveys. And also in some of the clips, you can get an idea of water depth as well. So it shows a great, not only the fish beautifully doing how they make more baby fish, but also an awesome habitat feature kind of background event as well.
Love it. All right, so digging in a little bit further into where and what we're up to as a staff-led initiative, and then also our local chapters who are driving forward this same idea of getting out, having volunteers document, using the Red Survey app specifically to document spawning fish, what we were just looking at. So some of these key larger watersheds you'll see on screen have some smaller watersheds that are called out by name. However, the list grows continually of wild trout streams across New York where there are opportunities for us to work. The TU staff that I'm a part of here, again, heavily working in the last few years in the upper Delaware region. So we've been doing quite a lot of work on the Willoughby the upper Susquehanna. We're also now moving quite a lot into that region. Excited to work on streams like Skenevis Creek. There are some tremendous small stream opportunities for studying brook trout there. John knows well.
Absolutely.
That's the Cobleskill backyard. So looking forward to partnering with the college there to get some work done on Skenevis and some of its tributaries. Wiley Brook, another one. We had a really great reconnection story on that stream, which is in the most recent Conservationist magazine. Should be at your doorstep here in New York shortly. We've been doing some work also with the Al Hazard Trout Unlimited chapter out on Owego Creek, Western New York, and additional chapters also partnering on the Cohocton River and Butternut Creek. So we've got a lot of opportunities around New York. If you haven't seen it yet in the Adirondacks, our great film called Connected Conservation is also here on the TU YouTube page. We covered the South Moose River Plains. We're studying brook trout up there. We would love to get some support of folks who want to spend some hiking days up in the South Moose collecting information on spawning trout. We mentioned the Saranac again, SUNY Plattsburgh. Our Plattsburgh Five Rivers Club is leading an outing on October 18th. So they'll be getting the program running for their club in their competition, if they knew it or not, up until now. So the upper and lower Saranac region, they'll be moving all over studying small streams. So Lake Ontario, the Cohocton River, as mentioned, the Upper Delaware River, Upper Willow, we talked about, Long Island, specifically the Nissequogue, which John called out. We'd love to get some folks out doing some spawning surveys. We will have some more info on an upcoming spawning training for Long Island, so keep an eye out for those. The Hudson River, we should make mention too that the Catskill Mountains TU chapter has been studying the Esopus and tributaries of it for quite some time. We have a population of wild rainbow trout there in the Esopus, as well as wild browns. So there's spawning surveys to be done now as well as the spring. So if you're interested in that, seeing this video and love the Esopus, definitely get in touch with the Catskill Mountains TU chapter. They'll be out November 8th. Upper Genesee, Wiscoy Creek, our buddy Kyle Glenn, staff lead for the western side of New York, is doing a lot of work on Wiscoy. And if you're interested in that, please get in touch. So that's the quick rundown of some of the work going on in New York. I'll flip over to Connecticut, John. This one's all you.
Yeah, so for Connecticut rivers, we've worked really closely with Connecticut deep fishery staff to really come together and find specific priority projects and priority rivers. and we're trying to focus for starting off in the TMA areas, the trout management areas. So in the Housatonic, Bee Brook, Macedonia Brook, Fen Brook, Turkey Hill Brook, and there's a whole list all the headwaters of the Housatonic and getting down into the almost to the main stem as well. But the Housatonic has a ton of options. So if you're in that area and interested in getting any spawning surveys done, please reach out. I'm really excited to get out there myself and peek some stuff out. I've seen some awesome things already, so I really can't wait to see some reds and some colored up fish in the Housatonic. The Farmington River, the FVTU crew has been doing really, really awesome. They're putting things together. They got a bunch of volunteers ready to go. They're still looking for more. So if you're interested in doing spawning surveys in Farmington and tributaries, please let us know. Reach out. We'll find a nice stretch of stream for you to walk as well. So we're looking at Beaver Brook, Cherry Brook, East Mountain Brook, Freeman Hill, and again, there's a couple other. Just didn't want to make this slide text crazy, but there's a lot of awesome opportunities in the Farmington as well. Shetucket, different Beaver Brook, but also Merrick Brook and Delphi. This is a priority for not only us, but Deep is really interested in this. We had some great data from the Shetucket last year, so we're looking to expand and collect as much ducket on the Shetucket data on the Shetucket as possible. I knew I was going to get tongue tied sooner or later.
I like that one. Yeah.
So we're also looking at the Pawcatuck River and Mystic and tributaries to the Mystic, the Shunnok River, Whitford, Haley's got. I can list a whole bunch in that area as well. So we're really excited. This is where Trout Unlimited and Deep came together and are really starting to collect data for the Sea Run brook trout. We think there's an awesome potential for out there, so we're looking to see some. Also, the Connecticut River is a bunch of the tributaries to the Connecticut have incredible populations, so we're interested in documenting reds throughout there. We've got some great data last year, and we're looking to expand into this year as well. So if anyone is interested in any of these spots, please let me know. If you're interested in something not on this list, we're also open for new spots as well. So please reach out.
Safe to say there's a lot of opportunity in Connecticut, looks like, no matter where you are in
For
the
sure.
I think it's real exciting the work that you've got going on with the eastern side of Connecticut, specifically Sea Run Brook Trout. That to me sounds like an exciting opportunity worth traveling to. So if you're interested in stuff to do this fall, and maybe you want to gain some information about fish that move in that way, get in touch with John. He'll set you up with a stream to go survey. So pretty cool. So that's what we got going on in New York and Connecticut. We did say we'd do a quick overview for folks who are going to be popping open the app in the next few days, getting out, doing the walkthrough of the stream. So here's the general breakdown to let you know what you're in for. Maybe you haven't downloaded the app yet and just want to see what it looks like. So here's the general layout of the information that we ask you to collect. Not a lot here that isn't self-explanatory. However, right in the center there where your survey start location, you'll notice that there is a little crosshair icon. And that really helps orient you on the stream to your exact location. So that's probably one of the most critical pieces of it is making sure that you're starting your location and then also marking where that actual red location you're hoping to document, where you are at that time. So not just where you started, but again, where you're putting this photo. That's a really important piece of it. You'll see there are a few different descriptors there for types of red or what you're seeing on the stream. And the types of descriptors, again, pool, run, riffle, you're really looking at categorizing the water that's passing by an area you do believe to be the home of a red there. So whether there are fish on it or not, if you see the types of gravel displays we showed in the earlier images, it's a good idea to document those. Great. We're kind of coming to the end of this discussion and figured keep it as brief as we could, but maybe highlight a few items that are known increased opportunities for success, we'll call them. Working with a partner or a buddy to cover ground is definitely a good way to do it. You can have some fun kind of splitting up different sections of a stream. However, if you like to work alone and you think this would just be a fun thing for you to do, by all means do so. But we encourage working with a partner. It is a lot of fun. Polarized sunglasses, really great. A lot of these, low light conditions, lots of heavy tree cover. These are great signs of strong habitat for trout. It does make visibility very dark, so your polarized lenses will really help you out. That's definitely critical. I think a good note here we have is that obviously here in the Northeast in fall, we're walking into hunting seasons, specifically multiple seasons, all happening on shared public lands. So really good to wear your blaze orange. Look out for ticks, plenty of those. Water temperature is something that we didn't document, but specifically as you're in this feature, there is a notes section, and it'd be really great if we're including information about water temperature. John, maybe speak a second about that. I know this came up recently in discussion with Deep as a critical piece.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that we're trying to enact as much as possible. It's an awesome little bit of data that is quick and easy to record, but will have awesome implications moving forward. As this data set builds, having water temperature will be able to pinpoint as time goes on when the fish are spawning and if that's changing based off of the water temperature and the time of the year, or if it's staying constant or any other variables that might happen that I can't even think of at this time. But it's really important data to collect because it will be able to make the data set more usable and will make a more robust analysis in the long run while you're out there doing the data.
I love that. So, an ideal scenario, let's say we're walking upstream, right? I'm getting to the stream that I'm going to survey. The first pool I see, I could, at the starting point when I'm marking my location, I could also put my stream thermometer that I normally keep on me through the summer for good, safe angling and catch and release. I'll go ahead and drop my thermometer and get a temperature at that pool. But then it would be really great data if we're walking a quarter mile or half mile upstream and we find spawning locations. Would you agree then maybe again dropping in our thermometer to try and get an idea? Maybe this is cold influenced habitat here. This particular pool happens to be 2 or 3 degrees colder than my original temperature. That's really great data, I would think, right?
Absolutely, 100%. That would be a great every that would be a great addition to the data. Take a data set for water temperature every time you're kind of ready to fill out. Every time you see a red would be great. It would be a helpful way to start indicating and pointing fingers in where groundwater seeps are coming in too, because you would see a little bit of reduction in the water temperature as well. So it would be an awesome, awesome piece of data to collect if you're able to. So highly recommend. It'll make the data set a lot more robust and usable in the long run.
Agreed. I think the same thing applies to the last point on screen. So, when selecting streams or talking to folks about what streams you might want to survey, picking a site that you're able to get to frequently is a really important piece. Let's say not critical. If you're able to go out to any stream and do survey work, we appreciate the increased data that we'll collect. However, if you go back to a stream continually, over the course of a season, if you're able to go, let's say, as frequently as once a week or a few times a month, that information, as it's developing throughout the season, is helping create that more complete data set. It gives us a greater sense of exactly what's going on. How quickly did we enter into that spawning season? Or maybe did it take quite some time for this stream to reach that optimal temperature? And now they're spawning. This may be, 5 or 6 degrees different than our first few surveys. So the frequency of survey, a place you select, something that's closer nearby, or a stream you just love so much, you know you're going to take the drive over there. That's a good one. So yeah, I think just these were hopefully some helpful tips and a walkthrough of why these tools are so important and how great it can be to get out and do this. This is a really important time to learn about some of your favorite rivers. And yeah, I hope this training helps illustrate that. I have to thank my friend John for adding so much really great color to this discussion and really sharing a lot of the data and a lot of what you've learned in your years studying fish and wild trout in general. So thanks for lending your brain to today's discussion. I appreciate you.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Jesse, for being an awesome host as always and for always facilitating great conversation. So, looking forward to the next one.
Me too. I am thankful again for everyone that's tapping in, watching this on YouTube. John and I have talked about doing more and more of these types of discussions in the future. So hopefully this is not the last time you see us doing it. If we're successful in saving this recording, we will certainly have more of these episodes. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.
See you next time.